What's up, believers? Welcome to Make Us Believe, a wrestling podcast by fans for fans. I am one of your hosts, Michael,
And I'm John.
and we are coming to you on the tails of a nice holiday break that we had. So yeah, John, first and foremost, how was your holidays? You haven't
It was
been here since like Thanksgiving, right?
yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I mean everything's going well. I got a new baby here. Not sure if we've talked about that since the last episode. So I'm very
No,
blessed. Everything's going
congratulations.
well. Thank you very much. But yeah, a lot of wrestling to catch up on, and I'm happy to be back.
Right on. Um, yeah. Kind of the same minus the baby thing. I mean, we got a new kitten, so I don't know if that counts.
I'm gonna give you a partial credit for that, man. And I'm a cat guy, so I appreciate that, man. What kind of cat you got?
It's a little orange boy Maine Coon,
All
actually. So
right. Oh,
not
nice,
actually not
nice.
so little, but yeah, he's a little chaos Cheeto, and we love him.
Right on, man. Well, congrats on that.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. We haven't talked, like I said, since Thanksgiving. So that puts Survivor Series, Saturday Night Main Event, uh and a slew of Raws and SmackDowns in the rear view that we kind of have to cover. So
Yeah.
here's what I'm proposing. We don't talk about like a full on, one for one review of every show or anything like that, right? Let's just go over some general topics, see how we feel, get the conversation going, and then go from there. How about that?
I'm here for it, buddy.
All right. So first and foremost, I would say right now we're probably, if we're looking at this as a traditional sports season, I would say that we're in the postseason right now, right? We're leading up to
The
um,
Rumble.
the Rumble, right, which is the kickoff to the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I'm saying we're probably like we're gearing up towards those storylines and everything. Going to be looking at what's going to happen at Rumble, what's going to happen in Elimination Chamber, and then finally what those culmination of those storylines are going into WrestleMania. So I don't know, maybe if we're not in the playoff season right now, I'd say we're damn close. Is that
Yeah, and
fair?
it no, it's fair, and it's just in time too. I don't know how you feel on it. As usual, we don't talk too much offline about it. We try to save it for these recordings, but it's kind of getting to that time again where it's getting pretty stale, and the Rumble's a great time to shake it up. So I'm looking forward to it personally.
Yeah, same here. And there has been a lot of shakeup. So I have been actually really kind of like not kind of invested. I've been invested. But the storylines are like starting to get me, but it's one of those things where I'm like looking at it and asking a bunch of questions of not necessarily where is this storyline going, but where are they going as a creative like decision, kind of thing. Like where does this go in the future?
Sure.
Um, so I guess first and foremost, the most glaring obvious thing to me is the tag divisions, right? Like they're
Mhm.
getting a major push right now,
Well, yeah,
both
we got the
men's and
Usos
women's.
back. Yeah, yeah.
So my problem is with speaking on the men's side first. How do you feel about the depth of the pool, right? Like of the talent pool in there? Because to me, it doesn't seem like they have much in the way of traditional tag teams ready to go for a full-on reboot and focus on the tag divisions.
So here's the thing: is I feel like they have potential. Like we've had a few young ones come up from NXT. We have some veteran teams. We got the Usos back. We still have New Day. I just feel like they're trying to put it more front and center, but they're not doing a great job of it. We've got the Wyatt Six who have had the belts forever, and honestly, like I love the sentiment of the Wyatt Six, but it has been a total and complete flop for me. Like I have to remind myself that they're even tag team champs sometimes. I'm just not feeling that at all. And then we have the
You-
Usos, which don't get me wrong, I'm nostalgic. I'm happy for them. I want to see more from them. I think they have a lot of potential. They're, in my opinion, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I think that Jay was getting stale as a singles competitor. Jimmy wasn't doing much of anything as a singles competitor. Putting them back together makes sense. I would have liked to see a bigger chase for them to get the tag team titles back. I think that's one thing he could have done for the division that would have made it more interesting. Kind of giving it back to him like really right away, I thought was a choice. But I do think there's potential there. They just need to go a little stronger on the storylines with it. They're having matches without a lot of buildup, and I
Yeah,
think that that's concerning.
yeah, I agree. I mean, you
But yeah,
have
you have Axiom,
almost.
who like when was the last time Axiom had a tag team match? Like they're a good
I
tag
have
team. You
no
called them up from
idea.
NXT. Like they're not doing US Open Challenge, or at least being backstage to talk about the US Open Challenge, than having any tag team relevance. So like, and that's just one example from like the younger tag teams that could be making an influence. I haven't seen Motor City Machine Guns do much of anything in a while. Like the talent's there. It's just there's no story behind it. Like you can absolutely make a better tag team division with what you have. You just need some creative uh, effort.
So then do you think that like they're trying this kind of like opening a salvo like hard and heavy with like the nostalgic greatest of all time teams and like those established names like New Day and like the Usos to try and like bolster up um like interest in the division before bringing in some of the younger talent to kind of like really try and like like flesh it out?
I think in theory that's the right way to go. I think that you have these guys there, you can get more eyes and interest on it initially. But I mean, I don't know. The thing is you've had a lot of these teams up for a while and you haven't done much with them. So to throw the belts right back to the Usos, like I don't really know what you're planning on doing with that. Like you could have had a tournament, you could have done something. You could push the New Day more, you could push Axiom, Motor City Machine Guns, you could push DIY. Like I said, the talent's there, but I don't know. I'm just not seeing any creative that's making me interested in it, despite being interested in the teams individually. So yeah, I don't really know what they're doing with that, but I think they're failing the tag team division right now, despite having a ton of potential with it.
Yeah.
What are your
My
thoughts on
major
it?
So my issue is that I agree with you. Shocker, right? Like they have a bunch of talent here, and we definitely have enough to make probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tag team division in the history of the company. Like we have a stacked deck to be able to do that. But my problem is that they don't seem to be doing that. And it's like, just all those things that you said, they're focusing on these key main event names and not bringing up anybody else yet, at least. And I don't know. It's just kind of like rubbing me the wrong way a little bit. And part of that is like the little things, like you mentioned, Jay's singles push was getting stale. But I mean, it's essentially dead now, right? Like they took
Oh yeah,
Jay's
yeah.
singles push as he's a world champion, and they've essentially killed his singles push and put him back with his brother. Like, granted, his brother wasn't doing anything in the singles world and everything, but Jay's push is dead. But they're still toting him out at the same time as putting them back together. They're still not together. They're not the Usos. It's almost like Jay and his brother. They're
So
still using Jay's music. They still have him go out like, telling the DJ to hit his music, not their music.
and there
Jimmy's
is a
not
difference.
yeeting
There is a
with
difference.
Jay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the Jay spinoff of their song. It's just me, Oos. Like, so it's weird because like their song is basically that song, just without the it's just me. Like it's weird that they're coming out to Jay's version of it when they are back together. And I do think they're officially back together. I felt like, when they announced they were back, that was officially and publicly killing off their singles runs and putting them
mhm.
back together like on a permanent, at least a semi, or well, I mean a temporarily permanent basis at least, or I'd say for the foreseeable future. That's probably a better way to put it. But yeah, I mean, the music is actually something that irks me. I'm glad you brought that up because it annoys me that they don't just come out to the regular Usos theme.
Yeah, or if you're gonna have them come out to a new song that's kind of like a remix of the other one, then like remix the remix, like make
Yeah,
something new for both of them for the
sure,
team. Because, like I
sure.
said, like Jimmy's not eating. Jay is still saying, four letters, one word, yeet as a
Yeah.
catchphrase. He's saying Monday Night Raw. Like
Yeah,
everything is coming with like we're still trying to do main event Jay Uso, but it's like instead of the Usos coming back, it's main event Jay and his big brother Jimmy, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't have that cohesive unit that you're used to seeing with the Usos, and what makes them one of the greatest tag teams of all time because they were, and when they're together, like they're in sync, in ring, on their promos, their vignettes, everything, like they're in sync,
yeah.
and it doesn't have that same flavor right now, so.
No, no, I do think that it's important that you build up the division as a whole to be stronger because otherwise they're going to be, a big fish in a small pond. And that's going to be the feeling of it. Like we don't know what to do with this division. Let's just go back to the trusty Usos. Like you build up the division, you make the Usos seem, stronger and more back than they've been. So I don't know. It's a really weird landscape in that division right now. And I'm not really totally sure what the solution is. I don't know. Like they're giving them more airtime. I don't know if it's just that, besides the Usos and the New Day, which, maybe some of the older fans are getting sick of, despite, breaks and changes, like they want to see other younger teams coming up. And don't get me wrong, like I love some of these teams. I love Motor City Machine Guns. I think Axiom is great in the ring. Maybe it's just how they are on the mic and their characters themselves that are lacking that isn't allowing for this division to build up. But I do see like there's more airtime for them. I don't know what you could do creatively to make it better. Maybe this is a failure by the team's characteristics. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you have talent limitations. There's, no way around that.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just don't have a person who's good on the mic, and that's just gonna be the case. They could be absolutely phenomenal in the ring, but they kind of suck on the mic, and
right.
if you're not the full package, you're not the full package. My other major problem is the retconning of history that the WWE seems to do when they want to push a narrative, right? So they're pushing the Usos because they went and got their ninth win. They're pushing them as the greatest tag team of all time, and it's just crazy to me because it's like you're not they in saying the Usos have nine and saying that they have then surpassed the Dudleys for most tag team titles. They have absolutely just diminished all kind of history with within the other companies and stuff that WWE has acquired over the years. Because like Ric Flair's 16, right? They had to go back in and
21.
cover up. I mean, it's really like 23 or something like that. Like you said before,
Yeah.
I did go in and look this up. Most of those were house shows that he lost the belt and then regained it the next night when they were leaving that hometown so the hometown hero could win it. And so the
Yeah, but you could
hometown
you
could
could make
see
the
their
same
win.
argument about
Something like,
The Usos have won, or not necessarily on house shows, but they've lost and won it back pretty quickly a few times too.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
always going to be
no, but
cheap victories.
yeah. So I'm saying their official count of 16 on Flair, includes, WCW and some of the other territories that they've pulled in over the years that they've acquired.
Yeah,
And that's totally fine. But we're
but they
in
won't do it for
saying
the
that the
Usos.
Dudleys, yeah, they didn't
Well,
do it for
or the
the
Dudleys
Dudleys.
rather.
Yeah, because the Dudleys have a combined 18
Yeah,
across WCW and what's it called? ECW.
ECW. Yeah, and the
Yep.
interesting thing about that too is that their WCW title is won in WWE. Like that's like a WCW or WWE owned WCW belt. They were never in WCW.
Yeah. Yeah, it was part of the same thing with the ECW with the reboot. They won the
Yeah.
ECW tag titles when they rebooted it after or WWE owned it. So it's kind of weird. I was looking at some other numbers because I'm like, this doesn't sound right. So the Usos are being goaded right now, but New Day has 13 title runs to their nine. Uh, Harlem Heat has 10.
Yep.
The Hardys have 10. Each of
Dude,
those is one more than the Usos have. So I mean, like you
yeah,
have to completely erase some aspects of history to make it make sense. And it it kind of sucks because I'm like, I'm not saying that the Usos are not one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They absolutely are.
I
And they
agree.
absolutely are going in the Hall of Fame. That being said, that's obvious. You don't have to try and change history in and completely rewrite it to make them look better. Like you don't
100%
have to
agree.
do that. Just let them stand on their own achievements,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I'm totally with you. Totally with you. Like if you want a team to be over, like in much aspects of life, it's what have you done for me lately? Now they are the reigning tag team champs, but what are you going to do with it now? Nobody cares about how many belts they've had before. Like it's a nice little notch, but yeah, there's a lot of tag teams, or there's a lot of people who have a lot of tag belts. How
Yeah.
good is this run? How important does this run feel? That's how you make these guys feel or seem more goated than, like maybe other tag teams. So, you gotta make an epic run with it.
I agree with that. I really do. So my other the flip side of this coin is the women's tag division, right? Which
Mhm.
they're also trying to start up, it seems.
Mhm.
Um,
For the
my
15th time.
big for the 15th time, yeah. My big problem with this one is that
It's
in
never felt
rebooting,
important. I'm sorry.
well, no, I mean, it did there in the beginning, like when you go back to like the Golden Role Models era, right? When we still had Sasha here and it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
her and
I'll give
Bailey
you
and stuff,
that. I'll give you
that
that.
was legit. Um, But I will say that right now it feels like they're trying to build the tag division by sacrificing single stars, right? Like you have Io, you have Rhea, who are now your tag team champions, but you they're as a tag team. They're not singles competitors. They're not going to be going after the world title or the IC title or the United States title. They're not going for those belts. They're not going for singles gold. They're going to be going for the tag team. So you've eliminated two main event stars, you know, from storylines for those sakes. And
Well,
I, that could be said that, Rhea and Io were getting kind of stale as singles competitors. We got tired of seeing them as champions, but also, is there like where's the balance where you start taking out people who you can just insert into the main event for the sake of a new tag division or a rebuild of the tag division, and how is that going to hurt singles storylines later on, like going forward?
so with the women's, I will say I half agree with you on that. So I'll say this about the women's division. Um, I feel that they're a little bit different than the Usos. I think that Rhea and Io, although I do completely agree that they're getting stale, I don't expect this to be a long-term run where I do with the Usos. I think the Usos are basically, like I said, I think that they're basically permanently back together for the foreseeable future. I don't think that Io and Rhea will be together in 4 months. I don't see them still being a tag team.
That's fair. That's
I,
fair.
I, I think that I think that just they don't have a lot going on in this division right now. They're both big stars. They're both stale. They need something to do. So this is something that they could do for now. Similar with Charlotte and Alexa. I think that was mostly just because they didn't really have much for Alexa at the time. Charlotte was really getting a lot of negative backlash about always coming back and being a top draw. So what else are you going to do for her? Put her with Alexa, then we'll give the fans a chance to have a breather from her being back and being in the main event scene. So this will kind of chill her out as a character. I understood the purpose in that, but I don't see any of these tag teams really being I guess permanent fixtures. Like you have some like, when it comes to the Judgment Day, like absolutely, like you can always put a solid team together with that feels more legit. I feel like maybe not so much now, but historically Chelsea has always been good for the tag division because she actually at least has some bit of a faction or a follower who's loyal to her. But for the most part, this division right now, it's just kind of thrown together. Like, and you've seen the men's tag team do this in the past, where you're just kind of, mostly in like the 2000s, I'd say, where you just kind of throw together two superstars who don't have much going on at the moment. have them go for the title, but they're really single stars that are just paired together for the moment. That's kind of how I feel about the women's division now.
Fair. That's fair. Like, yeah, I would agree with that. Like, there's not a lot of established teams out there for the
Yeah.
women on the women's side that, you don't have a New Day, you don't have the Usos, like kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's just, if you're listening, creative by any miracle,
Mhm.
just know that we see you and you're kind of under the spotlight with this.
Yeah. Need a little work.
Um, yeah. So all right, this is a nice transition because you brought up factions. The Vision.
Ugh.
How how are you feeling about them adding Austin Theory and Logan Paul to the mix?
I I have very mixed feelings about it. Now I understand any negative backlash that people are going at it with. Um, I'll say this. The Vision, especially since they booted Seth Rollins, kind of seems like a faction of people who sort of need Paul Heyman's tutelage. And I think that everybody in there right now, including Austin Theory and Logan Paul, can benefit from having Paul Heyman be their guy. So it's really just, an official faction of Paul Heyman guys or new Paul Heyman guys. I think that there's potential for it. I think that Austin Theory's always been one of those guys who people look at as somebody who has potential to eventually one day be a main event guy. He's not there yet. He hasn't been there yet. But I do think having a good, strong faction backed by Paul Heyman could put him to the next level. You've seen Paul Heyman do this with countless people. So I'll say, is it working for me right now at the moment? Not really. I don't hate it or anything. It's just I don't think it's having the desired effect for me right now. But I do think that it has potential. It makes enough sense for me to stay on board with it. I'll say that.
That's fair. I will say that that's fair. I agree. It feels like a Paul Heyman faction. It doesn't feel like a faction of people and Paul Heyman just happens to be there as the manager. It feels like a Paul Heyman faction because the rest of it
Yeah.
is literally the whole push for this thing after booting Seth has been Braun Breaker is the single star. He's going to be the new world champion. Like that's been the narrative. Everybody else in the faction is literally there to back up Breaker. And that kind of irks me a lot. We've discussed my issues with Braun Breaker in the past. Um, I will say the boy is getting better. Like the dude's getting better. I will say that. I didn't mean to call him a boy, but like
And
dude's getting better, right?
yeah,
Like legit. Um, but
I'm
I don't
curious to
think
see if
he's
they
there
shift that
yet
now.
necessarily.
No, I agree. I don't think he's there right now. I do think he's probably got the most potential of that group. But I am curious if they shift now to somebody else in the vision now that Breaker's had his shot and missed. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty clear that Brown Breaker isn't ready right now. I don't think Brown Breaker is like the official leader of this faction or anything. I think he was just the guy who, was at the forefront because of his momentum. But now I think his momentum should be gone. And if you want to have another guy step up or you want to have them, go in a different direction, you have options. So I am curious if Braun stays at the forefront of it or if they sort of shift it around a little bit. I think that that would be the better idea to sort of shift the focus around a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, if they do that though, do you think that that's going to turn the like kind of cause an implosion a little bit? Is like, that they're going to go the storyline of that of like, oh, Braun is now, jealous because he's not the face of the faction. He's not the one getting the push kind of thing. Now they're focusing on Logan Paul or whatever, like I I I feel like that's a built-in storyline in there, but also I feel like that could really kill like Braun's uh character push or whatever, like if he doesn't have the faction, I don't know what he is, honestly,
Yeah,
like right
yeah,
now. And that's
I,
that's kind of where we're at a little bit, like the detriment of this of getting super pushed while you're in a faction is if you're
mhm.
not in a faction at that point or you get booted out, then what happens? Then you're just Damian Priest.
Yeah, I think and that's a really good point. But I think that that's something that you always have the option for, and I think eventually you can certainly go down that road where it implodes. And honestly, realistically, And historically, that's probably what will happen. I don't think that's going to happen right now if they do it, just because the group itself is too new. I actually felt like they kicked Seth out a little too quick, but if there's injuries and stuff like that, then I understand. But I think that realistically, you can have it float around a little bit and make them support each other. And I think that that's best for everybody. Like the more time these guys specifically can get with Paul Heyman, the better it is going to be for their career in the future. That's my opinion. So I don't think
Yeah.
that, you need to do anything like that right now. Down the line, 6 months to a year, you want to start planting those seeds and, having some tensions that eventually destroy the group from within. Cool. Yeah, by all means. And I've thought about it myself, and I've also seen a few people start posting about it. But I've read, and I thought it right away too. But I did see some people kind of talking about Austin Theory maybe being a plant for Seth Rollins. Like he's been doing the curb stomp. He's been doing some Sethish things, and some people are speculating, and like I said, I lightly subscribe to it that maybe he's gonna, kind of work his way in, and then when Seth's ready to come back, they're gonna be attacking the Vision, and I think that that's a really good idea too, because then you still have Theory, under the tutelage of Seth, who's a really accomplished seasoned vet, and you don't have to get rid of the Vision with that either, because they're going to be more united to go against them. And that's going to be a pretty decent storyline that you can carry on for a little bit. I don't have any issue if they wind up going that direction.
Yeah, no, and that's super fair because it'll still keep the faction kind of fresh a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep them in the forefront and everything. But like you said, it gives Seth an easy way to come back in. It
Absolutely.
gives Theory his spotlight for right now and everything like that. So I really like that.
Yeah.
I like that as an option. It feels to me the Vision it's a faction of mid carders, and the big problem with that is that they're all they're being pushed all as kind of like single stars, like, which is fine.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, there's only two singles mid card titles, right?
Yeah.
And if there's four of the guys, four guys in the group and only two titles to go after, what's going to happen? If you're not making at least some of them tag partner, tag team or
Yeah.
something like that, like what's going to happen here? Like it's not like everybody can just go for gold at the same time. So I feel like there's a cap on it, especially since, like, yeah, we have Braun chasing, the main event picture, and he got his taste and everything. We kind of saw he botched a bit, during that
Yeah.
match, but overall it was a decent match. It was a decent match,
I
but
agree.
I would say that he's not quite ready yet. He's just not ready for the big job.
Totally
Um,
agree.
yeah, so I don't know. I feel like if it goes in its current direction, um, there's going to be a cap on it. I feel like they need to do some changes or something to keep it from going stale too quick, and just adding more bodies in there is not the answer.
Yeah. I don't have any more notes on that. That's exactly how I feel about it too. And you got some time. You could work around some stories, float some ideas and creative. But I think that there's directions that they can go that make sense. But I do think that they're gonna have to shift now, with Braun Breaker losing that title opportunity, because he lost clean.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I thought there was, like, they had some fuckery happening, and I thought that was going to be the oh, look, he's going to win the title,
Mhm.
but having to cheat to do it and everything. It's like, cool, we're getting another Roman Reigns title run where he's quote unquote dominant, but needs somebody to interfere every time.
Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah,
that
you're
wasn't
right.
the case. That wasn't the case. So I was like, cool, this actually played out pretty well. I could have done without the interference and just had it be one on one, and still got the same ending. I feel like that would have been
I agree.
um, stronger,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. Punk is still our champion, and Braun got his taste at the main event. To see what he can actually do.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it did a good enough job of accomplishing what they wanted it to.
okay, so I'm gonna throw it out there. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. John Cena.
Yeah,
He's gone. We no
he's
longer have
gone.
Cena. He is off the roster essentially, right? Like I do not like that they gave Gunther and the thing, the
Yep.
nod. Like I feel like it could have gone to somebody else who was coming up. Like Gunther was already established, and we've already talked about this, right? Like
Yeah, we talked
previously,
about it
like
on the
the
last one,
people,
but yeah, it needs to be
yeah,
acknowledged.
the people in the tournament were not necessarily up and comers that could have used the that final match with Cena. They gave it to Gunther, who was a former world champion. Like, why are we doing this?
Multiple
You know,
times.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So and it's just like kind of why with that. Like, I don't think Gunther needed that, obviously, but I'm just like it was a bizarre decision, in my opinion, to have Gunther be the guy.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a few opinions on this too, but I will wait my turn. I want to see what you if you have anything else to add to this.
yeah. Okay, so there's 3 points that I wanted to point out. Like, first off, good on Cena for building, insisting that the younger NXT talent are showcased on that last PLE,
Mhm.
right? Like Saturday Night Main Event, you had Oba Femi and you had Roca, and
Yep.
it was fantastic, right? Like it was
Yeah.
great. Um, uh, I feel like Gunther's kind of lost now after this. He hasn't really had a lot of, I mean, it's literal like just a couple of weeks afterwards, but there's not a lot that they're doing to build on that storyline necessarily. It was like I go in, I make John Cena tap, and then I go out and laugh at the crowd for 3 weeks afterwards. Like it's bizarre to me. It just doesn't make any sense that they're not building towards it. Um, I do feel kind of like they're building towards it a little bit now, but it seems like they're almost going towards um like are they building towards his character being a legend killer kind of thing? Like he's gonna retire people. Like he retired Goldberg, he retired John Cena. We know that AJ has said that he's retiring in 2026. So is this gonna be his feud with Gunther gonna be his last hurrah? And then Gunther takes him out, and that's kind of like, Gunther's MO is like the new version of the legend killer Randy Orton kind of thing. Um, I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, and I'm personally afraid of that exact same thing because A, I don't think Gunther's got a strong enough character to live up to it, and two, um, I just I think it's kind of a lazy shtick for him to go the direction of. I think in what I'm really afraid of is that yes, he's gonna end AJ, but then I do think it culminates with him killing the Legend Killer's career. Because Randy Orton ain't no young buck either. He's been there for a long time. He's basically a part timer right now. So yeah, you have him Goldberg, Cena, AJ, then you give him Orton, and it's like, geez, oh man, like I just I don't know. I'm with you on that. I agree with your points completely. We talked about it in our last recording. I really wanted to be Dom or at least LA Knight, somebody. And I know LA Knight's not young, but man, he's a guy who's like right there on the verge of breaking through in this company. And I thought that they could have done a lot with LA Knight taking this spotlight too, if they weren't going to go the Dom direction. I didn't think Gunther was a good choice for the same reason you said. He's a two-time world champion. He's super over. I agree with what you said as well about like, all right. So the first night he comes out and he says he made Cena tap like a bitch. He doesn't really say much else. He just trolls the crowd. I was actually okay with that night one, but now that's all he does, and it's sucked. Like when he came out the last time, maybe even the last two times and did it, the crowd wasn't even that into it. Like I think everybody's kind of over it at this point. But yeah, then you finally have AJ come out and if they have a feud, cool, whatever. But like a couple things on that. One, I definitely don't want this to be AJ's last thing. I don't want him to get retired. But two, I don't see any scenario where AJ wins this match. Gunther's got too much momentum. You can't have Gunther lose after coming off the Cena win, can you? Like, I wouldn't mind it. I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I just don't see any reality where that happens. So I do
I don't
think that
either.
this, yeah, I just don't think this has been booked well. As I hate to say, like, I kind of feel that way with a lot of stuff in WWE right now. Don't get me wrong, I'm still interested. I'm still a huge fan, but I just don't see, and like, there's nothing going on right now that's exciting me tremendously. And this specific topic should be the thing that's carrying the entire company. And it's something that I honestly really couldn't care less about right now, or less for.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. Like this is main event, right? Like AJ's a Hall of Famer. He's going in the Hall.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Gunther's
absolutely.
probably going to be in the Hall of Fame also. But, his career is relatively new, but
Yeah, but I don't see him
he
going anywhere but up.
right, exactly. So I mean, like he's been built as a dominant
Mhm.
um superstar since his time in NXT. And realistically, like he's got the in-ring skills to prove it. Like I love watching Gunther
Sure.
in the ring. I love it.
Absolutely. No, I do
Um,
like Gunther. Yeah, let me just re-clarify. I like Gunther. I liked him since before he was even signed to this company when I was watching more of other stuff too. Like he he's always even when he was on the Indies, he's a big star. I think he's great. I just think that the way they're executing this and the idea itself are pretty poor. Like you're about to have him take out a lot of huge legends. And like I said, I love him in the ring, and I don't even hate his character. I just don't think it's that strong to where he can carry this. Like if this is going to be a lot of pressure, this is something very few people could pull off. Um, so I don't know.
you're
We'll
not giving
see.
him
But yeah,
anything to work with. You're not giving him anything to work with other than
no,
I made him tap like a bitch. Like that's the only thing he has to go off of.
right, right, and it's already played out.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested to see where he goes, for sure. I stand by. I don't think that he was the right call for Cena's last
No,
thing, and
no,
that's not on him. That's not a mark against Gunther or anything like that. That's just I feel like it could have gone to somebody who really could have used that push.
absolutely.
Um, you know.
Passionately agree with you on that one.
Let's see. What do we got next? Okay. Branded events, and I mean like this Raw was the first anniversary of Netflix, and I understand why they're doing this, don't get me wrong. We're on Netflix. Netflix is, Netflix's baby is Stranger Things.
Mhm.
So obviously we have a Netflix, or a Stranger Things Netflix, or Raw for the first anniversary on Netflix. um Is it too much though? Because I mean, like they did the kind of same thing when Batista had his zombie movie, back in the early
Yeah,
20, or in the a few years ago. Um, and then they had the zombie horde come out. I was expecting somebody dressed up as a Demigorgon to come out and like
no
kidnap somebody
kidding.
or whatever.
No
Honestly,
kidding.
it's, so they didn't. But I don't know. Are they going too far with the branded stuff? Do you think?
I mean, I think so. This is almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for me. I think it was incredibly stupid, and I love Stranger Things. I thought it was really dumb. They didn't really do that much with it, which is kind of where like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I would have been annoyed if they did anything more with it, and I thought it was dumb that they like kind of had the big intro, like very Stranger Things themed. And outside of that, it really wasn't much, like a couple little things here and there, but like not they didn't really touch that much on Stranger Things after that, unless it was like in between matches or there 1,000 ads that they have to put on now that we're actually paying for a
Please
streaming service to watch, which is also annoys the shit out of me. Um, so
reach.
yeah, yeah, so I didn't really get it. Like, and again, like you have so many advertisements during this damn show anymore. Like just plug Stranger Things. Like you don't have to really make it a theme that you're not following through that hard on. So I don't know. I thought it was pointless, I guess.
No, I agree. I don't. tend to like these because I feel like it
It's
cheapens
tacky.
the product.
Yeah,
It takes away from the wrestling because then I was like, oh, are we looking at Stranger Things? Or are we looking at WWE? It's like it's not a crossover. There's no way to really cross them over. It just
yeah.
feels like this weird 2 hour long commercial for this thing, and I don't know, it feels weird. They could have put Stranger Things in place of Slim Jim on the center of the mat and it would have been fine.
I
Bust
agree.
out a Slim Jim table or slap a Slim Jim sticker on the announce table for that spot that they did and put Stranger Things on the center of the ring. Boom, you've got it covered, kind of thing. I feel like that would have been sufficient.
Also, I don't think Stranger Things is hurting for viewership, like it's one of the
No,
most watched shows, if not the most watched show on Netflix. I'm sure it probably is. I don't think you need to push that hard. Also, like, on the other end of it too, it's not like you watch Stranger Things and they're wearing like 80s WWF stuff like a Hulk Hogan shirt or anything. Like if they have, I've missed it. And I haven't finished season 5 yet. I'll say that, but like I'm pretty confident that there's no reference to wrestling at all on that show.
yeah.
And I'm fine with it. I don't need crossover. Like these are both Netflix shows that are doing fine. Like I'm sure they have record numbers. So like I said, it's tacky and pointless to me.
I agree with that. Also, can we stop with the longest running episodic TV show in history kind of thing?
Yeah,
Because we're not on TV anymore. We're on a
I
streaming service.
agree.
Like it,
I
it's not the
agree.
same.
It
It's
is
not the
not the
same.
same. It is absolutely not the same. Absolutely not. If you're paying for a streaming service that you can't access on cable or whatever, like then it's not really on TV. I totally agree with that.
Mm. So speaking of ads, 3 hour SmackDown. We got that just before the new year, right? We closed out with a 3 hour SmackDown. I felt like there were so many commercial breaks stuffed into that 3 hours. Am I
Of
am I
course.
crazy in this?
No, you're not. No, you're not. It's ridiculous.
Now, my other question is it needed? Do we need a 3 hour SmackDown? Because I mean, we asked the same question when we moved over to a 3 hour Raw, and then they backed away from that once it went to Netflix, right? So we had three
Yeah.
hour Raws, and it was kind of weird, but whatever. And then it got worse because they couldn't fill 3 hours, it felt like.
Hmm.
And then, it goes to Netflix, and then it drops down to like 2.5.
Hmm.
3 hours, it's still on USA, right? Or yeah, it's still on USA.
Yeah.
So do we need 3 hours of TV for SmackDown?
No, I absolutely am against the 3 hour show. The only time I was briefly for a 3 hour show was way back in the day when Nitro did it. And it was because it would come on an hour before Raw. So like they wanted to get you tuned in first and try to keep you. And then like first hour or so, they'd usually do, a lot of undercard things, a lot of cruiserweight things, which were still cool. And then the latter half of the show they'd have the big dogs come out, and I thought it worked really well for a window for them. But we're talking like 28 years now, which makes me feel old. So like I don't see any purpose to have a 3 hour show. Like if you can't fit it in to 2 hours, then you don't make it, and that's just all there is to it. Do what you can with your airtime. If it's not good enough, it's not going to be on the next show. Like, you got to make some cuts here or there, and you don't need to have so much filler with the ads or the Usos coming out just to eat and not even have a match. Like, and I know that that was Raw, but like, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you're
Yeah.
doing too much filler now. Like, if you don't have to force yourself to fill 3 hours. And also, like, if two isn't enough, like, figure it out, man. Like, and I feel that way about pay-per-views too. If you can't fit it into 3 hours for a pay-per-view, and I like a 3 hour pay-per-view, then you don't get to be on the pay-per-view. I don't need 2 nights. I don't need a 7 hour pay-per-view. Give me one 3 hour pay-per-view that's solid front to back. That's what I want. And that's how I feel about the shows for 2 hours. Solid front to back. I don't need filler. I don't need, slow spaces. Give me the best you got for 2 hours and let's go from there.
It's fair. I will say I wasn't mad at the pacing necessarily. Like I felt like for the first time of going 3 hours on SmackDown, I was not expecting a lot. I was expecting them to kind of shit the bed a little bit with it, but I did feel like the pacing was good. Like it didn't feel too rushed and it didn't feel too slow. Like it felt good. But again, part of that is like you said, there was a lot of filler
Mhm.
in regards to just ads by themselves, just the commercials or whatever. It was so much more space packed in with ads that I mean, maybe it was like a little bit over, like, oh, it's like a 2 hour and 2 hour 15, but with the ads, it stretches out to 3 or something like that. So maybe it was just a little bit longer and therefore the pacing wasn't that bad. But I don't know. I'm with
Yeah,
you though. The exceptions are like Rumble and Mania. Like I won't even say like I'm not a fan of uh the 2 night format that they're going with for a lot of the pay-per-views now. I do like I will say that if you want to do a 4 hour Mania or a 4 hour Rumble, I'm cool with that.
yeah,
Because we know the
I'll
Rumble's
give
going
you
to take
Rumble.
about an hour and WrestleMania, I'm like, cool. If you're going to just dump all of this, quote unquote, this season's storylines and stuff like that and reset and everything and try and get as much on the card as you can, I can sit through a 4 hour Mania for that. Like I absolutely can. But I don't need 3 hours for 2 nights or 4 hours for 2 nights. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and
Like
that's
I'm with
fair.
you. If it's like if it doesn't fit and you haven't done enough to get on the storyline or enough to make that storyline worthy of Mania at that point or worthy of the Rumble at that point or something, then you don't include it in Mania or the Rumble. Like you don't put it in a PLE. You just don't, kind of thing.
Yeah. No,
You so
yeah, and I could give you I that's fair enough too. I could give you WrestleMania an extra hour, and I could definitely give you an extra hour on the Rumble. But yeah, other than that, like spare me. Please spare me.
yeah. Um okay. Let's talk women's IC belt. Your favorite wrestler in the women's division is once again the IC champion. And I don't know what the holy hell they're doing with this belt. Like at first,
Yeah.
I go down and I would say like Lyra worked it, and then she lost it
Mhm.
to Becky, and I was like, cool, Becky's gonna put some prestige on it because of namesake or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then they dropped to Maxine, which I didn't think that Maxine was a strong enough in-ring competitor for it. I understand that she was with the crowd and getting our push and everything like that, but especially on this, on Raw, it was very, very blatantly clear that she was not ready for that spotlight. Like that match was terrible. Um, it was slow, it was telegraphed, there was botches, and
Uh-huh.
that's not all on Becky, honestly. Like you could see Becky has to slow down. We know who Becky is, right? Like I
Yeah.
know you don't like her necessarily, but we have to acknowledge Becky's skill,
Of
right?
course. No,
Like
I don't deny that. I do not deny
she
that.
is, yeah, she's one of the four horsewomen. Like we get it. But that being said, we've seen Becky at her best when she's in the ring with people that can bring out the best and let her just roll at her speed. It was so glaringly obvious that she had to slow down for Maxine that it made everything painful to watch. Everything was telegraphed, it was sloppy, and you can tell it wasn't Becky. So I'm like, one, how much does that hurt the belt considering that now you put it on Maxine and you had that after one title defense, she goes in and has that match. When she drops it, sure, but like how much does that hurt the reputation of the title from there? And also, where are they going with it? Because literally the only people who have even like sniffed at it are Maxine, Becky, Ivy Nile, and um um Lyra. And
Yeah.
Lyra's in a tag team now, so she's not going to be going after that gold anytime soon. So then now like Ivy Niles going back for it again, chomping at that bit. So I'm like, what are you just circulating it through the same three people?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's interesting. I've got some thoughts as far as Maxine too. I was okay with them giving it to Maxine. I do feel like she's been putting a lot of work in. She used to be worthless in the ring and on the mic. Um, I still think she's not great on the mic. I do see the improvement in the ring. She's still obviously not that good yet. But also, like I heard her in an interview. where she basically was saying like she's just been getting like a lot more formal training now than she's ever gotten before. She's doing things she had never done before. And it's like, shit, you've been in this company, you've been in the WWE for 4 years now, and like they never gave you any formal training, really. Like it's kind of hard to think about. Like, and she still has the Maxine Dupree name, which is off that like models faction that they had with the LA Knight, where he was Max Dupree and she was his sister. Like, so she still has that tagline. Um, she's been in Alpha Academy, which has been a Walking Dead faction for at least a year now, since Gable left for sure, but it was pretty much dead even when Gable was there. Um, so anyway, like I say that to say, I actually thought they were taking a reasonable step with her. They were trying to build her up. They were giving her more training. She has improved. It is the IC title, which is, the workers belt and mid card belt. I was actually totally fine with her getting the belt. Um, Even with, the imperfections, I think that that's okay for an IC belt. I feel like Maxine's somebody who, you can justify giving that belt to. But when you have her lose it almost right away back to Becky, who never needed that belt. But like I said, I understood it for the belt. Give a little Becky rub to it. I understand. I'm not a Becky fan right now, but I understand who Becky is and I understand Becky's value. And Becky having that belt makes the belt seem bigger. So you give it to Maxine, who is a lower mid Carter, who, now the belt is prestigious enough to maybe raise her up a little bit. And you don't give it the opportunity to do that because you have her lose it right back to Becky, which I think hurts Maxine more than anything. It doesn't do anything for Becky. Becky's extremely decorated and she's already had this belt. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they're pulling the plug on Maxine already, which I think is way too soon, or if they just have no direction whatsoever and they're just going to bounce it around to the same people, like you said. So, yeah, I mean, and here's the saddest thing about it is like, I sadly think that as far as the women's division is concerned, it's still one of their more compelling stories. Like, and that's not saying much because I just dogged it, right? But you know, if you look at like both of the top titles for the women, you have Jade who hasn't defended it one single time yet on television, and you have Stephanie who's maybe done it a couple times.
And
And
is now
and
seemingly injured.
yeah, now seemingly injured, and to me has done like nothing story mode or story wise, nothing as far as character build. The same ass slam move every time. And I don't dispute that she's talented, but like it's just so like I said, bringing it back. Sadly, this IC title is kind of the best thing going in the women's division right now, and I feel like they're botching that too.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly with you. That is an expert assessment, in my opinion. They really haven't done anything like outside of the tag division, which even then is only now starting to pick up some steam.
Hmm.
Like they really haven't done anything, and it's it's super shitty. Like you have a women's division that like clawed to get to where they are now, to where they're recognized as, one of the greatest, if not the greatest women's divisions in the industry. And you have nothing for them, like you like
Right.
you get them here and then you just shit the bed on their creative. And that's absolute garbage, in my opinion. I will say I think that Maxine being aware of the fact that she's not the greatest in ring and still needs work is um is hopeful.
Sure.
I do think she
Sure.
needs to go back to NXT. I think that. I think that if she was to go back down, that she could learn a lot as far as definitely in ring, but even being able to work with the trainers and stuff down there to help polish up her mic skills and stuff because they need some help. Let's be honest here. It sounds like I just would sit there and like her and Nikki Bella just going at each other on a promo would be like the worst torture I feel that you could do to somebody.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
would be
that
terrible. And so I I feel like sending her back down or having her go back down voluntarily, like yes, you're giving up your main roster spot, and that's always risky, but I mean, realistically, she's gonna get if she goes on this trajectory. I don't see her staying with the company. I see her getting let go because they're not gonna have anything for her in creative. She can't back up any push that she has is that she'll be given, because of her lack of, with her skill limitations. And eventually the crowd's going to notice and stop being all like, well, let's cheer for the underdog. They're just going to be like, oh, we're tired of this. We're going to move on. So, it really isn't going to do her any favors to stay on the main roster other than just to kind of try and bleed it out. Like, I don't feel like she's going to get the time or have the resources available to her to be able to get better or get where the point where she needs to be able to be in title pictures and stuff like that if she just stays on the main roster and is go, go, go all of the time.
Yeah, I
So
actually feel like that's a really great idea for her. I didn't even have that on my radar, but I do agree with you. I think that her best bet is to go down there, get a little bit of that experience and see if she can improve. And then if she does bring her back, that's actually the perfect idea for her because in my opinion, she's one of those gals who I guess was unfortunate enough. And you could make arguments about like that era in general, but like I feel like she was just born too late, but she was made for the Divas era. Like she's a super hot chick who's got very limited wrestling skill. And that's basically what the Bellas were, and they're Hall of
yeah,
Famers. Like
yeah,
Bellas can't speak, they can't wrestle really well, and they're in the Hall of Fame because they wrestled the bulk of their time in a Divas era. The later portion of it, but still very much so the Divas era. Um,
yeah.
if
I
she
mean,
would have
Nikki's
came
never
in
been a
then,
world champion. She's only been Divas champion. She's never been the
yeah,
women's world
exactly.
champion.
Yeah, and it's
And
the same thing with
I'm not trying to
Nikki
say
and
that she's
Maxine.
like
Yeah,
whatever, but but she's not on the same level. They're not,
yeah. No, and you're right. And they're basically the
you know,
same person. They're the same person, the super hot chick who can't wrestle that well, can't be on the mic that well. And one's in the Hall of Fame, and one like you wonder why they even have a job. Like it's just the difference of when you come in and what era you're in. And Maxine's in the wrong era. Like she's just not. Like you have women now who don't have to be super hot. Like they're very much so measured as the males are. Can you wrestle? Can you cut a promo? If not, what value are you? You don't have to have a supermodel quality to you. I'm not saying it hurts, but it doesn't hurt for the males either. Like people are always drawn to people who are better looking in life and wrestling and whatever, like so it helps, but it's not necessary. You got a lot of ugly mugs who have had a lot of great success. Um, and like I said, because we're out of that divas phase, you don't have to be a supermodel and just go on that. So yeah, Maxine's gonna have to figure out. Like I said, she has improved on the wrestling. I'm gonna give her credit on that. I don't think she's anything special, but she's definitely noticeably improved. She needs to work on the mic skills, and like you said, I think a perfect place to do that would be NXT. Um, you have the smaller, intimate venues where you can kind of try different things, experiment a little bit, see what works, what doesn't work. Like I couldn't agree with that point more. I think that is the best case scenario for whether they do it or not. Who knows? I hate to say it's doubtful, especially since they just gave her the IC title. I think it's more likely that she flops around a little bit longer before getting cut. But yeah, I definitely think that if you want to give her the fairest shot, you got to send her to NXT. Like seriously, great point on that. Do I still got you, Mike? Uh-oh.
there, there we go. Sorry,
Okay. All right.
my mic decided to unplug itself.
I was like, oh
We're
no.
recording live, people. Like, and I don't edit anymore, so this is throwing this out there. This is what you get now. Okay, this is what you get.
Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It was all of like 15 seconds of nothing. People get deal
Yeah, I
with it.
know. No, and I was saying, like, I completely agree. Thank you for the shout out for my my call on that and everything. But yeah, I agree. I think that's the best case scenario for her to remain in the company,
Mm.
versus, like you said, having her flop around for a few more months or something before ultimately getting let go. Because if she gets let go, how many years is it going to be like her having to go from other indies and on the indies before she gets signed to a TNA or signed to a AEW to put in a few more years there to build up a name for her themselves or for herself before she can have a shot at maybe coming back, like,
Yeah,
and
but the
even
thing
then,
is,
like, then what happens? Then does she come to, then she ends up coming to NXT anyway, like,
yeah, and honestly, I don't even see TNA or AEW signing her. I think that they've got enough people to where she doesn't add any value. Like it's not like she's a former champ or has a lot of draw or a big following. Like TNA and AEW don't need her.
yeah,
They have enough talent. They just don't need that. So I think if she gets fired, like she might be done with wrestling. Um, but yeah, like you want to give her the best shot. You've invested enough in her where you should give her the best opportunity to succeed. And yeah, I think that that's really the best route.
yeah. Sometimes you have to take a step forward or a step backward to be able to take two steps forward, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
and you
and there's no
almost
shame
saw
in that.
this. No, I agree. You almost saw this work for Mandy. Like Mandy wasn't doing anything on the main roster. They brought her down to NXT where she was
Hmm.
great. She was great. She wound up getting fired for that what OnlyFans stuff, but that wasn't because of her production in NXT. Like she was gold in the NXT. And she would have
Yeah.
been good. She would have been good to bring back up. But it worked basically it worked out for her. She shot herself with her own foot with breaking that rule.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does work out for some people.
Yeah, I super agree. Like I would have loved to see NXT Mandy come back because she was killing it there. She was absolutely killing it in NXT.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, like you said, shot herself in her own foot, but it, that is what it is. It's like the same who was that? Like Evan Bourne or whatever, that high flyer
yeah,
that he couldn't stop smoking weed.
yeah.
Kind of thing. It was like, yeah, fantastic guy. Probably would have been a cruiserweight champion or a mid card champion by now or whatever, but uh, he couldn't lay off, and it
Yeah.
is what it is, kind of
You got to
thing.
make some sacrifices if you want to, if you want your dream to come to fruition. Some
Yeah,
people don't have the discipline, and it is what it is.
it is what it is. Um, I guess realistically, the only other thing that I wanted to kind of put out there from my point of view, as far as my agenda, looking at my notes and whatnot, like I have a bunch of stuff, but we covered a lot of it. Um, NXT, general PSA, believers, go out there and watch that shit. Like it is fantastic.
I've been
And
watching more of it myself. It is definitely improved.
I'm actually really looking forward to New Year's Evil tonight. Like,
Yeah,
that's when we're recording. Fun fact, it's Tuesday. But yeah, like I'm really looking forward to it. I will admit I've been out of the loop on NXT for a very long time, and I was just focusing on Raw and SmackDown and the PLEs, and that's it. And like basically when they went to their little colorful brand rebranding of NXT 2.0, I felt like that was garbage, so I gave up on it.
totally agree. Black and
They
yellow for life. But yeah, they're starting to
black
come
and
back
yellow
in a
for
good
life.
way.
Yep, they really are. And realistically, after seeing Sol Ruka and Obafemi
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
Leon and Javon on Saturday Night Main Event, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this another shot. And then I started watching again, and I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah.
It's recorded. If I miss it live, then I'd still go back and watch it later. Like, um, it's a great experience, guys. A lot of talent down there. Please, please, please go support and watch them. Um, it's fantastic.
No, I totally agree. And kind of going back to what you were saying, like that was a good thing John Cena did to feature those guys because they are really
Hmm.
talented. I think I gave it another shot maybe a couple months ago. But yeah, same thing. Like I was all about the black and yellow era. I thought at that time that product was better than the main roster. Like that, or like
It was
I thought NXT was better than Raw and SmackDown. It was the best wrestling show on TV for a minute, which was nuts. And then they
hands
call him
down.
up and they botch him on the main roster, and it was like, what's going on here? But then,
Hmm.
yeah, when once that era ended, it was crap. I'd give it a shot every now and then. It would do nothing to draw my interest, but yeah, a couple months ago, I started giving it another shot, and it's the best product it's had since they moved to NXT 2.0 or whatever the hell they were trying then. But yeah, it's the best product that they've had since they closed the black and yellow era. So
Yeah,
very optimistic, a lot of great talent in there. Absolutely a good plug. And I definitely intend to, keep following along with that as well.
I am gonna say, if you have not tuned into NXT and you just start tuning in, it's gonna be a little bit of a shock hearing Booker T on commentary. That dude is wild, but
Yeah.
man, is he entertaining! Like
So, so that's a real
he's one of the all-time.
controversial thing.
He's he Booker T is a Hall of Famer for a reason, man. Like I don't care. Like I love Booker T. I love me some Booker T. And the dude, when he's on, right? And I know sometimes he goes a little bit off and is like, that didn't really land, Book, not the way that you wanted. But I will say overall, the man is entertaining. He knows what he's doing. He understands the business, and having him out there on commentary does give a little bit extra that you don't get necessarily from, Raw or SmackDown.
Well,
Like I love me some Corey Graves. I love me some Wade Barrett and Joe. I love me Michael Cole, right? But I don't know. There's just something. There's just something there that and especially it's like, yeah, it's NXT. It's the developmental brand kind of deal. So you have, Booker T just kind of like there. It's just it feels more fun. It feels more fun and more like that indie feel that the black and yellow brand had, that makes them feel like this scrappy young upstart versus a developmental brand or whatever. So
so,
I don't
so
know.
I'm glad you made this small point at the end because what would an episode be without at least one disagreement, right? I
Yes,
can't stand Booker T on commentary, dude.
I know
I
you can't.
I feel like I might be in the minority for it, but like I can't stand this dude on commentary. He drives me nuts, and I like Booker T. Don't get me wrong. I was a Booker T fan when he wrestled. I followed him since WCW. Always liked Booker, but man, I hate him on commentary so much. And like even in the black and yellow brand, they had really great commentating. They had
They
what's
did.
his name? Morella. I can't even remember his name, but
Oh
he was
yeah, Morello.
yeah, he was
Or yeah,
awesome.
I missed
Um,
that guy.
yeah, and like I can't even remember who he was with, but they were all fantastic. Booker T kills it for me a little bit. Like it's don't get me wrong, I could chuckle at it sometimes, but I'm chuckling for the wrong reason. Like I don't like Booker T on commentary, but like I said, we've been really agreeing this episode, and we usually do. Like that's not uncommon. If you follow the show at all, we're pretty aligned in our opinions, but we usually have a few disagreements here and there. I thought we were going to have a flawless show there, and I'm not even sure I wanted it. So I'm glad you
I
brought up Booker T because I can't stand him on commentary.
Look, I know you can't, and there may or may not be some notes that I absolutely interject just because we can't have a flawless show. Like we can't do it. We can't do it. Um I pay attention, people. I pay attention to my friends, what they say and everything when we're talking, even when we're not recording. I know he's not a fan. I know John's not a fan of Booker T. I know he's not a fan of Becky Lynch necessarily, specifically the way that she talks. I get this. I remember things.
Yeah, but you know
Um,
what? That's good story continuation, brother.
Thank you. See, it's almost like I'm a student of the game or something. What's up? So, yeah, okay. I guess my only other thing that I want to touch on, like I mentioned in the beginning, we're moving into what we would consider the postseason, moving into our Super Bowl kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna have the Rumble here in a few weeks or a couple weeks,
Yep.
and we're already pushing for it. It's in Riyadh, so I'm not gonna be paying for that or anything like that. I
There
still
are
don't
other
really
ways.
support. There are other ways. I'm not gonna point these out to
Mhm.
necessarily. Um, I do want to say though, I have been using a new browser recently. I've been trying it out. Um, the Opera GX browser? It's really nice. It's really fashionable, has some cool features on it, one of which being a built-in VPN. So it's
Oh,
really kind of cool. Helps protect your privacy and stuff like that. And you can, pick different servers if, something in the US isn't working out. You can try something, you know, like in Canada or Europe, something like that.
Allegedly,
Um,
you can watch NXT and SmackDown on Netflix if you use a VPN.
yeah, it's weird. I've heard those things. So
Yeah,
I would
never.
never
No, me
do
neither.
those
Me
things.
neither.
But
Just something I heard.
just
I don't know if it's true or
yeah,
not. I
yeah,
I don't even care to try. But yeah, I heard
yeah.
if you just like say you're in Toronto or something, it works out.
Yeah, I've read those things on Reddit and everything too. So yeah, but I can wholeheartedly say that the Opera GX web browser has been really fun to play with. So if you're out there and looking to give it, maybe thinking about it or looking into a new web browser, maybe give it a shot. See what's
What a
up.
maneuver. What a maneuver.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, hang on though.
Um,
We can't close the show, and I don't know if you were heading this direction or not because we didn't talk about anything this show, or before the show. But I feel like we cannot close the show without giving a Royal Rumble prediction, right?
I see. Stop. Get out of my brain, John. Get out of my brain. We're not
All
closing down yet.
right, all
I'm
right.
not saying we're just getting started, but we're not closing down. So we're going in. What do we think is going to happen? Like we like as far as storylines go, because we have to build. We're starting to build up storylines at this point, right? Like
Yeah,
going into the Rumble, we're actually going to be building storylines over the next two PLEs leading into WrestleMania. It's gonna we're in the busy season right now. Um.
yeah. So I have two
So
thoughts, and neither of them are super probably major. But you can go first if you want, or I can go first. You call it.
okay. Are we finally gonna get the death of Nikki Bella's character and like kick her out? Like, can we just pull the trigger on that? Are we all tired of this?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired of it myself. I'll say, kind of going back to what we were talking about before, if you want to give her a shot at the IC title, whatever, but you have to do something with this girl if you're gonna keep her. Like she's awful. Like don't get me wrong. I think I said it, I alluded to it at least earlier. I think Nikki, despite whatever her age is still a solid 10. Woman is beautiful, but she can't wrestle and she can't talk. And I'm not 14 years old. I don't need just some hot chick, scantily clad on my TV anymore. I got the
No,
internets, bro. Like, so I'm good. I'm good. Like, but if you're gonna keep her, you got to do something with her. And I do feel like, obviously she shouldn't be in the world title picture. Like, you want to throw her in there to have some fodder for that, whatever. But I think that should be dead now. You want to have her start going after the IC title. I don't see a world where she could beat Becky Lynch. I hate to say this is, and we talked about this earlier, is as terrible as it would be, her and Maxine would make more sense for at least a match. The build up for it would be terrible. But you got to do something with Nikki if you're going to keep her. I don't know what the hell the point of bringing her back was. She was not needed at all.
no. And I mean,
Like
like,
you've done her enough
what are you
favors.
gonna
I don't think
do?
she should even be in the Hall of Fame. Like, so I don't think you owe Nikki anything. Like, you didn't
No,
need to
because
bring her back.
she runs around touting like she got in the Hall of Fame on her own merit and stuff like that. Like she got in with her sister
Yeah,
as a tag team, and no shame on the tag team. But you look at the other tag teams like Harlem Heat and the Dudley Boys, they earned their spot in the tag team, like in the Hall of Fame, right? Like they earned that. You look at the Bella Twins, and it's like, what did you guys do? You one of you flopped around under the ring for half of your career doing quote unquote twin magic to cheat to win
yeah.
matches, and then Nikki, your sister was the vastly more talented one of the two of you, and she's not wrestling anymore. Like you
I I,
weren't the
I would
talented
say
one out of that.
they were pretty close though. They were both pretty bad. Like my thing is, yeah, I do think that Brie was a little bit better, but just a little bit better. But Nikki had the boob job, so like I guess I
There's that.
kind of give the nudge to her, but like they were both really awful. To me, the only people in the Divas era who deserved a Hall of Fame ticket were Trish and Lita. Other than that, like I didn't need Michelle McCool. I definitely didn't need the Bellas. I don't think anybody else deserves it from that era. It was a bad era. And you could blame
I'm
Vince, you could blame whoever, but like I said, it was mostly supermodels or people who couldn't wrestle for shit. Like it was just a bad era. Like, and you could argue Jackie or a few other people, but like just because they were better in that era doesn't mean they were that good. Like it was a bad era,
no,
and I don't think you got to put in the top 50% of them because they were good in a bad era. Like Trish and Lita were pretty good, but still Like
Not by today's standards.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you really pay attention, like they were great for that era. So I'm okay with them being in. They couldn't hold a candle to a middle of the pack person today.
Yeah. And I agree with that to an extent. The caveat would be Natty, I would say. Natty deserves it. I would throw that out there. But
Yeah, but
Natty,
Natty's
for
been
those,
in Natty spent more
she's
time in this new era than she did in the Divas era. She came in the Divas era.
yeah,
So did Charlotte Flair. Like,
yeah,
but they spent more time in the new era, than the old one. So I
yeah,
agree with you, but
that's fair.
I don't consider Natty a diva just because she started in the Divas era. Same thing with Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte's a diva because she came in the Divas era.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna say they're the only holdouts from that era that were participants in that era that
yeah,
deserve to go in. That's what I'm saying.
100%
Um,
agree, 100% agree. But yeah, in my opinion, I don't consider them divas. Natty 100% should be in. I feel like she didn't get a good enough push during her career in WWE, but she's universally respected. She's
yeah,
great. And Charlotte, like for better or worse, like she's one of the best I've ever seen as far as the women division. Um,
yeah.
like
One of the best
she's a shoe
in-ring
and two.
performers, period. Like that I've
Yeah,
I've honestly ever seen. Like, and that's men included. Like she's just
sure.
a fantastic in-ring performer. She just
Yeah,
is.
I agree. I think that a lot of the hate she gets is mostly because of booking. They did kind of shove her down our
Hmm.
throats a lot, almost similar to Roman Reigns.
Hmm.
Before he teamed up with Heyman. Um, but like I said, I think they're doing the right thing with her now. They're kind of taking a step back with her. They're letting her, be with Alexa, be more of a face, not try to go for the main title at all. People are just burnt out on that. That's not on her. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. Those two, just because they, had been in the Divas era and held Divas Gold, I don't consider them Divas.
yeah. So I'm like, can we just get rid of Nikki? And I'm like, look, it's nothing.
Yeah,
I'm sure she's a nice person. Like, there's
yeah,
nothing against
sure.
Nikki Bella or whatever her last name is. I forget, but it doesn't matter, right? We're on a show where we believe that everything is real.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter what kind of person Nikki actually is outside of the business. Like, when we're
yeah.
talking in the business, it's not there.
Her
And
sole
it's like you
purpose is
can't
to
even,
entertain me in my life, and she's not doing that.
yeah, yeah, and you can't. It's not like you can send her. Oh, like we said for Maxine, send her back down to NXT. Let her
No,
work on her in-ring skills and her mic skills
no,
because
she's in the Hall of Fame.
she's been there. Yeah, she can't go down there. She's gonna go for the world title and win it because whatever. But like she's even more out of her depth in NXT than she is on the main roster right now. Like she would
Yeah.
be at even a greater skill deficit down in NXT because the women are so much better down there
Oh
than
my
she
gosh,
would
they're
be because
insane. Yeah, she's
yeah,
gonna look
because
really bad because she's not gonna be able to hang there. Like,
yeah,
but
just
like I
going
said, she's a
against
Hall.
Sol Ruka or
Yeah,
Sol Roca, like you really?
no, yeah, because she's in the Hall of Fame, she is gonna look really bad down there. Like I said, everybody knows
Yeah,
Maxine needs work, so her looking bad down there isn't a bad thing because NXT's always been a good mix of people who got it, who are just waiting to move up, and people who really are learning. Like, so it's okay if you have somebody who hasn't had a lot of success who's trying to learn.
yeah, yeah. Because you have somebody who walked in the door yesterday having a match against Johnny Gargano at the time or something like
Yeah,
that. Like NXT champion, and they both feel equal a little bit. Like
right,
just
right.
because it's NXT and you get that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you. She would just be out of her element down there completely, and it would be a waste. It would honestly be a waste of a
Yeah.
spot of TV time, everything like that. So I'm just like, let her fade out. Let her fade out into let her ride out into the sunset and enjoy her last hurrah that she had with this. And I swear to God, dude, if she wins the Rumble, like
No way, no chance. They won't do it. I don't know.
uh,
I so I
she
mean, I
doesn't
don't know.
even
Like,
need to be in like the final six or whatever, the final eight or whatever. She doesn't need to be in the ring after number 30 has already gotten in there. Like she doesn't need to be around. She doesn't need to be in the Rumble. Like let's be honest here. Let's realistically creative. I know she's hot. I know she had her boob job. I know she's nostalgic for some people and everything like that. But dude, she's not. She's not. Like she's not
no,
ready. She's
it
not
was a
good
bad
enough.
idea, and yeah, they should just pull the plug. I agree with you on that. I do think she's going to be in the
Yeah.
match. I don't think she's going to win.
So speaking of in the match, you asked for predictions.
Yes,
I'm going to ask you one question.
sure.
The contract ended on December 31st.
I think we get the
Are
countdown.
are we getting the countdown?
Yep. Yep. So that's one thing that I there's a lot of rumors that he was going to show up on Raw last night, and I'm so glad he didn't. It would have been rushed. It would have been a missed opportunity. I think, and
Mhm.
by the way, we're talking about Jericho, folks,
We
if you're not
are
catching on.
absolutely talking about Y2J.
Yep. So I'm so glad he didn't show up because he needs to return at the Rumble. And instead of the regular tick down, you give me the Y2J countdown and you have it kick the fuck off, man. And I'm gonna pop
I
so fucking hard for it. And it
I'm
better
su-
fucking happen.
I'm gonna lose my shit if that actually happens. Because I was like, go back like 4 episodes, 3 or 4 episodes, people. I called it. If that happens, I'm gonna say right now, I called it. If it doesn't happen, creative, go back 3 or 4 episodes, and that's a missed opportunity
Yep.
because we've both agreed, as we typically do, because we're both geniuses,
Yep.
that that is the way to make a statement on there. And then you're trying to do it in like Saudi Arabia and everything like that. So you're trying to make it big and for that their contract and everything like that. Like you want a big moment for them. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. You get the 10 count or whatever, like it pops up 8 or whatever, but boom.
Yep.
Like we said, do his Y2J countdown instead, and everybody instantly knows it. And it doesn't matter. You don't need to wait for his music to hit, do the traditional countdown, and then wait for his music. The pop can happen with his countdown, and it would be perfect.
I agree, man. Yeah, honestly, like get start with the 10, and then when we get to 5, just do it,
Mm-hmm.
man. And it's gonna, dude, I like I said, I 100% expect and believe this to happen. But even with that being said, I'm gonna fucking pop. It was kind of like when Cody returned. I was pretty damn sure he was coming. But I,
Mm-hmm.
as most of us were, but when it happened, I still was through the roof, man. So like that's what's going to be with Jericho. I don't know what you do with him after this. You could definitely fit Jericho in a few different spots. He doesn't win the Rumble. Maybe give him his 10th IC title at some point. Let him have an unofficial little retirement run. You could do stuff with Jericho. Jericho's a great wrestler. He's absolutely a Hall of Famer. Let him come home, finish his career where he belongs. Give him some decent storylines. Obviously, you don't have to give him a world title. I don't think anybody really expects that. But yeah, this Rumble is gonna be everything when he hits that music, like when that music hits, or when that countdown hits, rather. Um, but yeah, absolutely has to be done. Has to be
Yeah.
done.
Even if we don't get the countdown, one again, creative missed opportunity.
Yep.
But I'm 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 saying he's going to be in the Rumble. If he does, like, I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I think he's going to be one of our quote unquote surprises.
I agree. I agree, man. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm looking forward to that.
So do we think Braun's going to win then? Like we're trying to do the little push, but now we have to try and find another opportunity or reason for him to get into the Rumble or into the main event picture or not. That gives him a couple of months or a little bit of time to kind of like figure out the storyline and everything like that. Do we think that he's going to be ready to go for Mania, like if he goes in for the Rumble, or by that quote, by that logic, elimination chamber?
If I'm booking this, I say absolutely not. I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's going to be ready at that time yet. I don't even think the storyline's ready for that. Who I want, and I'm not going to be shocked if this doesn't come to fruition, but who I want and think will win, and I think this is overdue by maybe a couple years, which is why it's probably not going to sound great, but I think you could do a lot with it, is I predict Sami Zayn to win this Royal Rumble.
Don't get my hopes up, John.
I
Don't get
I
my
ju-
hopes.
I
I've been waiting
I
for
just think it's
Steve
time.
to
I
have
just
a
think it's
main
time.
event. He needs a title. Like, and it's not like
This
he
is the
needs
last
it's
chance.
Sami
This is the
Zayn.
last window. Like you
Yeah.
have to do it now. Like if you don't do it this year, Like the window's passed. Like I think that you're at the ass end of the window right now. Like
Hmm.
he isn't doing jack shit right now. He just came and said like he's gunning for the world title. Made a point to say something to Cody about it. Cool, but the problem with Sami Zayn is, and I love Sami Zayn by the way, but the problem with Sami Zayn is he says this all the fucking time. He's
Yeah.
he's been saying this for years now, but he
I
always
mean,
falls short.
he
If he
claimed it
gets
like
there, yeah,
three. Yeah, he
yeah,
claimed it like three times in NXT before he finally won the title. So
yeah. Like he keeps, making this proclamation and he keeps falling short. And it's year after year of this. This is the last time that I think he can do it where people will get behind it. Like he's a little bit off everybody's radar right now, which is why I think if you have him win it, he gets a huge pop because most fans are going to agree that he deserves it. And I don't think they're going to be expecting it. And then you let him build up for Mania, and then you finally give him his moment. I just think it makes so much sense to do that now. If you don't have him win this, you could still do the elimination chamber, but I just feel like his wait has been so long that I think that you give him the rumble. You don't give him the elimination chamber because the elimination chamber is almost like a consolation prize for having a title match at Mania. Like it sounds weird to say that because you're getting a title match at WrestleMania, but I do feel like the bigger story is always going to be like when you make it to the Rumble or when you make it to Mania from the Rumble. So
oh, for sure.
I think that Sammy's long wait and constant disappointment on his road to get there. You give him the Rumble, and then everybody is back on. Like immediately, you have him win, everybody's back in on it, and then
Hmm.
you just ride it to Mania. So that's what I think should happen, and I think if they have any sense, it's got to at least be on their radar. Like if they don't do it, that tells me it wasn't even on their radar, and then I really just got to start having serious thoughts about creative right now. I think they're in a lull right now, but WrestleMania season's always when you could kind of kick it back off. This isn't new, all right? Like this is always the time of the year where things start getting a little slow. And then the Rumble
Yeah.
happens and it's like everything's fresh again. Like you could go a million different directions with the storylines. They're all hot, they're all new, you're all excited. You got a lot of questions about what's going to happen. So that's when this is where things speed back up. Sammy, like I said, again, I just think he's been floating lately. And this is your last opportunity to give him this award for all of his hard work, and this is going to be the payoff.
I'm buying into this. I'm subscribing to this newsletter wholeheartedly. I don't care about the ads or the malware included. I'm here for it. Um, my okay, so my dream scenario with this would 100% what you said, right? Like I feel like Rumble gives a sense of um like an aura or an atmosphere of supremacy that winning elimination chamber just doesn't. It's like you said, like elimination chamber just feels like an afterthought on the way to WrestleMania
Yeah.
versus Rumble. Like the
Mhm.
Rumble has always been the traditional way to go, and that's the way you want to see your new champion happen, like kind of thing almost.
Yeah.
So what I would absolutely love, and this is just my thing from now until into Rumble kind of thing. Sammy takes the Rumble, wins it, goes after Cody because he's already established that,
Mhm.
beats Cody for the belt.
I'm
Now I
in,
don't
dude.
like
I'm in.
to see Cody lose necessarily because he is QB1 and stuff, but
Yeah. Oh,
also how
I love
even
Cody.
even for Cody, like how long can you really put up the squeaky clean face thing? You're not John Cena. You can't do what John Cena did. You can't stay squeaky clean babyface for literal years without going stale. Like even he went stale and he, you know, had half the arena cheering, half the arena booing, but he
Yeah.
still had that polarization. Cody's probably not going to get that. You're either going to cheer him, you're going to boo him kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
we don't have another Cena. We're not probably never going to get another Cena. Let's be honest about that.
Hmm.
So that being said, Cody won against Roman Reigns. We all love the underdog story, right?
Yep.
how do you underdog Cody? How do you underdog Cody Rhodes? Sami Zayn, ultimate
Yep,
underdog. You
absolutely.
know, so and I feel like that is a good transition because you have Sammy win the Rumble, you have him go on to Mania, you have him challenge Sammy, or yeah, you have him challenge Cody, and then he beats Cody, gets the belt. Cody congratulates him in the ring or whatever, and then turns on him. Boom, heel turn.
That's best case scenario. That is
Yeah.
100% best case scenario because I love Cody Ray. I love Cody Rhodes as a face. I really do. I actually love him more as a heel. Now you didn't really see it
Yeah.
a lot. You haven't really seen it in WWE like with this Cody Rhodes, but in AEW and New Japan and Ring of Honor, Cody Rhodes had some outstanding heel work. Cody's a great heel, whether people know it or not, and
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see it. Whether
Yeah.
WWE has the balls to pull the trigger on it is questionable because he is their number one face now. And I'm afraid that they're going to try to give him the John Cena treatment where they just, push it to the wheels fall off. I think storyline wise, it's absolutely better for Cody to go heel. And the way you presented it is the best way to do it. But whether they do it or not, having Sammy beat Cody is gold. It's
Mm-hmm.
just because they have history together. They've had battles with each other. Like together. Going against the bloodline, and they've got a good story together. So bringing that back as adversaries going into WrestleMania, Cody QB1, Sammy, like you said, the ultimate underdog. Like you got a story there, no matter what you do with it afterward. But yeah, I would and I know we're swearing a little more than we usually do on this podcast, but I would absolutely love for Cody to turn heel right afterward. That would be like the best WrestleMania moment ever. Sammy gets his gold and Cody goes heel. Like it would just be unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with this. That's what I want. That's the dream
Yep.
kind of thing. I know there can only be one, but like you said, make it Sammy. Like, Kevin Owens has had the world title
Yeah.
before. All the other people that you would think that are like quote unquote coming up or ready in the main event picture and stuff like that. Like they they've been there. They've been to the dance. They've done what they did and stuff. Sammy's never really got his chance. And
No.
I don't know if that's because they don't have faith in him or he's just been more concerned with, pushing the storylines and being a company guy or what. But I'm like, dude, the fans want to see Sammy. Like we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would lose our collective shit if he won, like realistically.
Yeah. And another thing too is like every time he's had a world title shot, and we've all wanted him to get this title ring, but every time he's had a shot, I always felt like I knew he wasn't going to win it. It just the story
Yeah.
didn't feel right to pull the trigger. The buildup wasn't right. Something was off that I didn't believe he was going to do it. You have him win the Rumble, man. You start getting people believing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see, honestly, like I don't have a lot of other predictions. So I'm gonna jump on yours for that, other than Jericho making it back. But I'm honestly excited to see who they bring up. Like obviously we're probably gonna get Obafemi in the Rumble. We're probably gonna get Javon. We might get
Well, I think Javon just got at least a story, a kayfabe just signed with Raw. I think.
Yeah, Raw or SmackDown because Trick Williams signed with Raw, didn't he?
I think
Or was
so.
it?
But yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see all those guys in the Rumble.
I feel like it. I don't think any of them are going to win, but I
No, no,
feel
no,
like
no.
that's
But
going
yeah,
to happen.
you definitely feature your new call ups in the Rumble.
Hmm. And like was it Leon from TNA, the TNA X Division champion?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, same deal. I'm waiting for him.
He's gonna have great spots. If they put him in the Rumble, he'll have some really cool spots.
Oh, him and Javon both.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna
yeah.
get some like Ricochet, Logan Paul spots going on in there,
Absolutely.
man.
Yep.
That's gonna be
Yep.
amazing. Yeah, I'm wondering. So we had. So speaking of that, like kind of dovetailing in, and this is going back to like NXT and stuff like that, with the partnership that we have, or they have going with TNA, right? Like we
Mhm.
had TNA Joe Hendry as the TNA World Champion, and then him coming in, losing it, signing officially with NXT, right? So he's in WWE now. Do you think
Yeah.
that Leon's going to get that same thing, seeing as how he's been? I mean, they did the same thing with Jordan Grace too, but do you think that he's going to get the same treatment? Well, he's X Division right now, but like once he drops that kind of thing, they're going to work him more into NXT until he's just out of TNA and just in NXT.
Yeah, I mean that makes the most sense to me, but I mean I don't know. Like to me, I hate to say this, but like I could see, he just for whatever reason, and I can't really put a good explanation on it. There's some people who they scream to me like WWE is going to botch this. And that's
Hmm.
kind of the feeling I have there is that I don't know what they're going to do, but it's not going to be enough. And it's going to be a disservice to him. And he's going to take 3 steps back before he even has an opportunity to take a step forward.
Yeah, I hate to say it,
That's
but
my
that
fear.
does end up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard, right? It's hard because you want to get to the pinnacle and you think it's like, oh, look, I'm showcasing my talents and I'm everything. I'm here. I've been, doing what I can. But then, like you get there and creative literally doesn't have anything for you to do, and it does suck because he's a good worker. He's but his style's high fly, and realistically, we don't have an X division here. Like we have,
No.
we comes in even if he's going after a title, it's going to be U.S. title or IC title, and his style doesn't necessarily jive well with that,
Yeah. And,
him
and
or
they
Javon. So I'm like, I'm excited to see them in there and see what they can do, but like I don't know where they go.
and it goes both ways too, because like they do it with talent, but they also do it with like shticks too, right? Like I could see Joe Hendry getting botched as well because they're going to go too hard on this, say his name shtick, and
Oh, 100%.
nobody's going to care about like him in the ring. Like, and Joe Hendry has been a guy who I've been familiar with for a long time because he was in TNA. Like I watched TNA for forever, up until maybe a couple of years ago. And he was there like over a decade ago too. I mean, and he's been in and out of that company, but he's always kind of had a little bit of a comedy spiel to him, but he also can wrestle. He's very talented, and he does have a lot of good character to him. Like he's got good potential. I think they're going to lean way too hard on this, Joe Hendry say his name thing that can work with smaller audiences. Like you got a small TNA crowd, you got a small NXT crowd. It's really fun. You have a massive stadium. I just feel like some of that stuff that works in the small crowds gets old really quick in the stadiums, and I could see that happening. And then I feel like he's almost going to get typecasted into that where, then he's going to start losing a lot of matches. And I could see him just getting buried too down the way. I hate to say that, and I don't want to see it happen, but I think they're going to lean too hard on that.
I mean, we've seen it happen, right? Like we've
Oh,
had guys that
absolutely.
were absolutely phenomenal in the ring. Like you had, Joey Gargano, who's never going to be main event,
No.
realistically, right? Like we know that. We had Adam Cole, who
Yeah.
is not,
They wanted
he
to make
left the
him Keith Lee's
company, but
manager. Yeah.
yeah, they want to make him Keith Lee's manager and stuff. And it's like, what in what realm do you have Adam Cole and you want to make
Yeah.
him a manager, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so you have these guys that are bursting with talent, bursting and putting on 5-star matches night after night after night, and you completely botch their coming in or their call up or anything like that. It's crazy to me to see that this happens, and I agree with you. Like it feels like that's what's going to happen with Joe, because like he doesn't look like the classic definition WWE definition of a main eventer, right?
Yeah.
So it's an uphill battle all the way, and if you relegate him with this comedy shtick, more or less, right from the get go,
Yeah.
like
It's just
he's dead
short.
in the
It's a
water.
short-lived thing. Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I will.
So I don't know. It's gonna get a fun pop when it happens at Rumble, but you
Sure,
know,
sure. And you can get a fun pop with it for a while, but it's good. You have to do something else pretty quick. Like that little shtick isn't going to last too long on the main roster. You're going to have to give something more. And I don't really know what they do, and I don't think they're going to have any great ideas for it. Especially like when you're working into WrestleMania season, where you're working on massive storylines and massive changes. I could just see these guys just not being a rating priority. And then at that point, you have them on the main roster for months and they haven't done anything. And then when they're like, oh, yeah, these guys, nobody cares at that point.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And that sucks. That sucks, right? Like, 'cause, you like you want to hope that you get a taste of how the universe is going to react based off of the reactions at NXT. But realistically, like the people in NXT are more like us, like these super fans that are willing to watch all of it, right? Because you just can't get
Yep.
enough and you want to see the next crop of, talent coming up and everything like that. You want to be tuned in and be on the pulse of the company and the future and everything like that. And then I feel like the vast majority, though, are the more casual fans that are just going to watch SmackDown or just going to watch Raw, and they're not going to be super familiar with these guys, and
Yep.
it's just going to kind of fall flat. And they're
Absolutely.
not. It's going
And
to
that's going to
take
be
them
that
too long to get to see the skill and the
for
talent
sure. And
and
that's going to be the
the
majority of people. That's going to be the
yeah,
majority of people.
yeah. So it super sucks. It super sucks, and especially on the other side of that, where we're just like, the rest of us are screaming at the mass crowd and just be like, look at what he can do in the ring. I promise you it's worth it. Just give him 5 minutes, like
Yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It sucks. It sucks from that aspect. I get it, but it still sucks.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm I'm with you
yeah.
on that. Can you hear me? Sorry, my headset just went in and out. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah, you're good. You're good. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No. So yeah, we agree on that. It's just it's kind of, like I said, it happens every year. It happens with every crop call up. It always sucks, but there are guys who you kind of start to see the trends. Like I said, even if you can't put a finger on exactly what it is, just guys who are going to wind up getting lost in the sauce.
Yeah, for sure. So
Um,
yeah, and any other predictions or stuff
yeah,
that you've
we
seen
have.
so
I
far?
think we can close with the women's, right? Like, who do we think is going to win the
Oh,
women's, or
that's
do
a
we
good
have any
point.
massive predictions?
Trying to think.
That one's a lot tougher too. And again, kind of what we
Yeah.
were talking about earlier. They haven't been doing much in this division lately. Like this is really kind of like open. Like you can go a lot of different ways with this. Like you can really go any direction. Like nothing is built up well enough for better or worse to where we were talking about Sammy. Like it just makes too much sense right now that if you don't do it, it's a botch. With the women, it's like, well, whatever you want to do is fine. I'd say don't give it to a repeat winner. It'd be nice if they didn't give it to a former champion. Give it to somebody new. But I could see them going. I could see them going Lyra. I could see them going with one of the NXT call ups. You can go a few different ways on that. I'd say if I had to pick one for an official prediction, I might go Lyra, just because she's kind of been pushed out of the IC thing. She was kind of doing tag stuff still. I just feel like if she was your big call up last year, and you're trying to get her that extra push to get her over the hump, I guess Lyra would make sense to me. But yeah, I mean, you can go, like I said, you can go any direction pretty much with the women.
I'm honestly, I'm gonna say Raquel. I'm gonna
Raquel,
say
dude,
Raquel
I would love that.
Rodriguez.
I would
Honestly,
prefer that. I'm telling you right now, I would honestly prefer that because you keep
yeah,
having her
'cause-
kind of dip her toe into the main event women's scene now, and I I hope you're right about that. I don't think you
yeah,
will be, but I hope you are. Like if I had to put money
I hope
down,
so too.
yeah, because that actually would make total sense. Like Raquel's good. Like and Raquel
Yeah,
was really good in NXT. Like people don't really remember Raquel, but like she was actually a powerhouse in NXT for a while. And
yeah.
and yeah, I and her and Liv were together too in NXT towards the end of both of their runs. But yeah, Raquel, I feel like you can absolutely take that next step with her, and it's a good time to do it. And she's hot enough right now where it makes sense. Like I said, she's been in, the main title scene, so the world title scene.
Hmm.
So yeah, give this, that would absolutely put her over the hump, and it's been probably like 4 or 5 years in the making for her on that too. And I don't know the exact number. I don't know when she got called up, but it seems like it's been a while at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be all for that. I guess, Jordan Grace, like if you wanted to have, because she's been in like the last three, even as like a TNA competitor.
Hmm.
Like I wouldn't hate seeing her win, but yeah, honestly, if I got to pick, I love your Raquel choice.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, like she's in the title picture now. She's making noise, and I got screwed out of it because of the triple
Yeah,
threat and all that other stuff, right? And everything. If she can keep making noise for like 2 to 3 more weeks, gets in the
yeah,
Rumble, wins it, she doesn't have to make any more noise about it. She's
yeah,
guaranteed a spot, and then she gets her one-on-one, right? Like
yep.
that's how I feel. Like it just it lines up. It lines up without being able to put too much stress on her having to keep coming back to it, and failing every time, kind of
You,
thing.
you know what? The more we talk about it, like this is kind of like the reverse on how it was with Sammy, how I kind of like sold you on that. You've actually sold me on Raquel. Like it actually does make a lot of sense, especially because she just like her already injured foot. So what does that do? That makes it so Stephanie doesn't have to defend for a little bit. So you
Hmm.
could have Stephanie. Really, like Stephanie isn't going to defend that title before the Rumble. So now
No,
you have Raquel win this thing, and they already have established beef to where it would almost be awkward if they didn't do anything after the Rumble. So it actually makes so much sense for Raquel to
that's
win.
brilliant. That's
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
I love it,
I
dude. I
I
love it.
love it. I love it. Yeah, because he's like, oh well, Liv's back. Let's give it to Liv. But like you said, like she's a former world champion, multi-time
Yeah.
world champion. Like she doesn't need it. And with them pushing Raquel towards that picture, you kind of getting that little bit of a wedge inside of Judgment Day, considering
Mhm.
Liv thinks that
Yeah.
she was the world champion and not the tag person, but now she's with Roxy.
Yep.
And like, hey, let them go for the tag gold, that's fine. And then let Raquel go for the women's gold, and you still have all the gold in the clubhouse. Like, why not? Why not try it out?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm here for it. I mean, like, why the hell not, kind of thing. So it makes sense to me in my head, especially building out that storyline, like you said, with the injured foot and her not being able to
Mhm.
to defend. She could still, like, they could do backstage stuff, attacks, promos, all that fun stuff leading up to the Rumble. She wins the Rumble. They don't have to do anything else other than promos until WrestleMania. So
Yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I like seriously just after you brought it up, like she wasn't even on my radar. And like I said, I was like, yeah, that'd be nice. But no, like seriously, the more I chewed on that for a second, that's that's the way to go. That I think that actually has a very strong chance of happening. And it wasn't even on my radar. So good call on that.
Nice.
Yep.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what actually happens with that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I not gonna be again going with ESPN Unlimited, because I'm not spending another $30 a month for another streaming service just to watch wrestling. Like I'm standing by the boycott.
Yeah, I'll be
Um,
watching it. I'm a hypocrite. I agree with all of your views on that, but I got to watch it, so I'm gonna watch it. And
yeah,
I don't want it to be interrupted either. And yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it full force.
yeah.
So, but yeah, either way,
I
no matter how
mean,
you choose to watch it, that'll be good combo afterward.
yeah. Yeah, if you choose to support ESPN Unlimited and do that because you like sports or just love WWE that much and everything, by all means, no shade. If you are looking for alternatives and the way to find it and you find one, that's great. Email us, let us know. That'd be
Mhm.
cool too. Um, or like I said, if you're trying out looking in the market for a new web browser, you know, give that a shot. Give Opera GX a shot. See what's up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Um,
as we begin our journey, things will get pretty interesting pretty quick here.
Indeed. I'm excited. It's a little slow right now, like you said, but I think things are gonna pick up in the next week or two for sure. And with like Rumble declarations and everything. Because it's not just about the Rumble. Like it is, but it isn't. Like, they
Yeah.
have a full PLE to, also plan for and stuff. So we're gonna get those storylines going into it also. So I think this is gonna be a good month. This is gonna be a
Yeah.
good month for us, and I'm cautiously optimistic about the road to WrestleMania ahead.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Like I said, I expect good things. It's not always the case, but yeah, like we've talked about a few times now. This is usually about the time of year where things start getting kind of rough to watch. Things are getting real slow. Rumble speeds it back up, like resets everything, and then WrestleMania definitely puts like a hard. Everything's going in a new direction now. We got hot stories. We got you know, for no, I guess no wrestling kayfabe pun intended. We got the backlash of WrestleMania. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
For sure. All right. I don't really have anything else on my docket. Do you have anything you wanted to throw out in the episode today? I know this one
I
ran really long, but
well, yeah, no, I think we from that long break. I think we purged it all out. I feel good about it now.
right on. All right. Well, in that case, we will talk to you next time, and I promise you it won't be a couple of months before you hear back from us. So in the meantime, I'm Michael.
I'm John.
Don't stop believing, guys.